everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Eric Altman, sales engineer at Vodia Networks, and today we're going to talk about phone provisioning. Just get my mouse over here. So why phone provisioning? Well, first of all, as a managed service provider, provisioning the phones for your customer is one more service that shows the customer that you're managing this install top to bottom, so that when the cutover is complete, they have working phones with their names and the correct button layout. No-touch provisioning also allows for a faster deployment, giving you more control over the process and the timeline. Phone's username and password is provisioned into the phone. Your technical team will be able to log into the phone's web interface if troubleshooting is necessary. Most of the phone's operation is handled by the Vodia PBX. For example, you can reboot the phone or send a new phone configuration to the phone. Also, in some cases, phones need to be swapped out to other agents. Vodia has integrated all supported phone templates into the PBX, which makes it easy for MSP to change settings on the fly. Templates can be changed from the administrator level. Vodia provides secure provisioning for all phones that support TLS and can accept Let's Encrypt certificates as well as wildcard certificates. Vodia can also provision the phone's display to show your customer's logo or your own logo, and this white labeling helps with customer retention. Redirection and Provisioning Service, or RPS, is setting up phones from the phone manufacturer's provisioning server, and that's the cornerstone of any VoIP company that would like to streamline their operation. There are basically 4 phases to provisioning. The first is finding the phone system. In order to provision phones, those phones need to be able to find the Vodia PBX. The next phase is identifying the extension to provision. Then there must be a first authentication to allow provisioning. We'll talk a little bit more about that on a slide coming up. And then finally, the provisioning itself. There are 3 types of provisioning, depending on how the device finds the PBX, what we talked about with phase 1, just in the last slide. Vodia supports RPS, which directs the phone to the Vodia server, or you can use DHCP option 66, or LAN provisioning if the PBX is on the same network. So let's talk about RPS. The way RPS works is that a device uses the vendor's RPS for redirection to the phone system. Vodia makes it simple. Just add the MAC address to the extension. This identifies which extension to provision to that device and makes an entry in the RPS for that MAC to be redirected to a Vodia PBX's domain. Without touching the device from the box, zero touch, it'll go to the RPS and be redirected to Vodia PBX for provisioning. Since the credentials are not there in a factory defaulted device, some kind of authentication is needed for the first time to start provisioning. Some RPS systems allow passwords to be assigned to with the MAC entry for redirection. The device gets that password along with the redirection URL from the RPS and can use that for authentication for first-time provisioning. Once provisioning is complete, the extension credentials are also provisioned, so there's no authentication problems for subsequent changes of settings or buttons. Now, if the RPS doesn't allow the password option that I just discussed, then provisioning can be open for that extension for a window of time, say 30 minutes, in which first provisioning can be done, and the window then closes. It's kind of like WPS or deck button synchronization. Vodia RPS helps with deploying phones for your subscriber. I mean, all you have to do is add your phone's manufacturer's RPS account on the Vodia RPS management page and start assigning the MAC addresses to your extensions. Vodia will send a request to the RPS server to pair up the IP phone to that specific extension. We talk about zero touch. As a service provider, your main task is to make sure that clients receive a fully programmable SIP desktop phone, and then when they're connected to the customer network, the phone will register to the PBX. The process of zero-touch phone provisioning with Vodia is quick and painless. And for assigning and unassigning MAC addresses from your Vodia server, Vodia is already connected to your manufacturer's RPS account, so it makes sense that you can also unassign devices from the PBX. DHCP option 66. So the premises router gives the phone system the URL for a VoIP device to contact for provisioning through DHCP option 66. The phone then uses it to contact the Vodia Phone System for provisioning. The MAC address of the device added to an extension is what identifies the extension that you're provisioning. And for first-time authentication, like I just discussed, the extension's open for a window of time to allow for setting up credentials. So here's a diagram showing how this all connects. With option 66 enabled in your DHCP server, whether your PBX is on the premises or in the cloud, doesn't really matter. The phones are going to get their IP address and be redirected to that server, to the PBX to be provisioned. And then LAN provisioning. We also support LAN provisioning for premises for a lot of phone models. When the phone, fresh out of the box, is connected to the network, the phone system detects it and shows it in a list of LAN devices. You can simply select the domain and extension to which you want to provision the phone and press Setup. That also ties the device to the extension by setting its MAC to that extension, and also opens that extension for a window of time, say 30 minutes, in which first provisioning can be done without authentication, and the window then closes. And here's a visual of that LAN provisioning. You can see the list of devices that were detected. You simply hit that setup button next to the phone that you want provisioned. As simple as that. So let's talk about the requirements and what actually gets provisioned. First, the phone needs to be factory reset. When deploying the Vodia PBX, it makes sense to have one routable public IP address for the PBX if it's a cloud deployment, and that's not necessary if it's on premises. Also, for a Vodia cloud deployment, it's important to have an FQDN, a fully qualified domain name that your phones can register to. For premises deployment, you want to use a domain name instead of an IP address. This setting found in the Vodia PBX helps so that only requests to that domain name are answered. So what can be done with provisioning, and the list of things that are provisioning can be exhaustive, but some of them are listed here. So you've got the extension username, display, as well as the extension, etc. The password, the registrar or domain, and outbound proxy if required. The URLs and ports are according to the security profile or provisioning chosen, and that can be done easily through the interface on a domain basis. The buttons for different vendors and models, also the ability to have default buttons for models as well as individualizing them. And multiple devices can be provisioned for the same extension, and each can still have a different button profile provision since button profiles are selected on a MAC basis. And the same device can be provisioned to multiple extensions, and the extensions will appear as separate lines on the provisioned device. You're going to be provisioning the background image, time zone, update firmware. And all these settings can be set easily on the Vodia system UI and will be provisioned to the phones without a hassle with zero touch right out of the box. Account profiles. So setting profiles for the extension are sent to the phone when it's provisioning to the Vodia PBX. Here's just a few of the many items that can be provisioned to the phone. Account profile, account number, username, button configuration, company logo, time zone. All of these can be provisioned to the phone. Now, normally all of this is going to just happen naturally, but if you do need to troubleshoot something or get back in, here's the provisioning sequence. So you can assign the MAC address to a user. It'll choose the phone manufacturer and then start the MAC-based provisioning. So this is just kind of a way to do it if things didn't register properly. And phone provisioning history. So when a phone provisions to the Vodia PBX, we create a config file for the phone, CFG file for the phone, which is shown to the administrator. Here you'll be able to review what values were sent to the phone. You can also re-provision the phone by clicking on the re-provision button when you've changed the setting for the extension, including buttons, name change, etc. So the Vodia PBX keeps an audit of the phone's registration history, as well as the functionality to reboot, reseek the phone when you've made a change to the extension and you want the phone to have those new values. Administrator history shows what's been changed on the extension. For example, opening it up for plug and play or changing a password. Each phone has its own template. It's great to know that you can create your own button template. It helps if you're coming from another PBX system and you want to implement an exact replica of those buttons, then you can create a button template on the fly for the phone subscribers. Users can use the domain default template, or this can be overridden on the extension level. The administrator needs to change the button template for a single extension, then it's only going to affect that one user. Now, in a multi-tenant environment, it's important to understand that when you provisioned a phone, Vodia automatically assigned a web and PIN password to the phone. It's important to set these parameters under the domain settings. Once you've entered your admin and PIN and password, Vodia will provision these values into the phone, and then you can log into the phone if need be. Now, provisioned phones can be reused. There's no need to factory reset the phone. The phone will update the display with the latest extension name or the subscriber's extension account. All manufactured phones have a username and password by default. However, when paired to the Vodia, then a new username and password is assigned to all devices. And the idea of this is it makes it easy for you to log into the phone and troubleshoot the unit if you need to. Phone templates. So Vodia has a complete list of phone templates for your phones. This means that you have complete control of the phone template on the admin, domain, and user level. You have complete freedom to add or disable features on the phone's template, which will be provisioned by the PBX. Admin phone templates can be changed on the admin level. The Vodia admin level template can be used to change specific settings on the phone, and these templates are global. Domain phone templates are the same as the admin level templates. The only difference is that you'll be changing the templates on that domain level only. And the user template is also the same phone template on both the admin and domain level. The user template is available if you wanted to only change the setting on a specific phone on the system. The list of VoIP phones shows a table of all phones connected and provisioned to the Vodia PBX. This table is available for all domains on the system that have phones registered to the PBX. Registration status, all phones that are registered to a domain can be seen on this screen. RPS status, all phones provisioned using RPS will show this status. The phone's MAC address is also listed with a unique token used to provision the phone via RPS. Manufacturer model shows all the phone vendor info. The phone's firmware is going to show the phone's firmware version. Device address shows the external IP address of the phone's location. Duration is going to show you how long the phone has been registered. And extension shows which extension is provisioned to the phone. The VoIP list is available for all domain tenants on the PBX. Now, just talking a little bit differently here about the desktop app. I mean, the Vodia Desktop App is available as a web user portal or as a Windows app. Users can make and receive calls from the app or desktop phone. You can also toggle to initiate a call to the desktop phone device without even having to lift the headset. All Vodia apps have notification of inbound calls and voicemail messages left for the user. Also includes notifications of user chat and SMS. There's presence. Users can manage their presence view on the Vodia app and create group presence. Transferring calls is easy on the Vodia app or Windows Desktop app. You can even transfer using the drag and drop functionality. And we do have Follow Me, Find Me available so that users' cell phones can be used to extend their availability. So Vodia supports logo provisioning. Put your company's logo or your subscriber's logo on the phone. White labeling is domain-based. You can have many domains that use different images that will be provisioned to the phone. SVG images are supported and can be uploaded as the main image and background images, as more phones support a two-layer approach. And you can also upload specific images per phone as well. The supported images there are going to be JPG and PNG files. You can register multiple identities on your SIP desktop. So why register one when you can register multiple users? And here's how. You're going to add the MAC address of the phone to the extensions in order to register multiple identities. So you're going to add that MAC address to each of the phones that you want to be as one of these identities. Then you log into the Vodia PBX, navigate to all accounts and choose extensions. Choose multiple extensions that you'd like to register and append that MAC address to each of those extensions. When you're in the extension, you're going to navigate to the Provisioning tab and add the MAC address to each extension under the Bind to MAC address setting. So once you see that, you'll click that and then add those MAC addresses and you should be good to go. Just kind of tying this in with our Microsoft Teams integration. It's an easy integration with Vodia on these phones. Can auto-generate, let's encrypt certificates. You can host multiple Microsoft Teams domains. And the key there is we're going to offer traditional PBX features where they didn't have those before. We're also going to offer voice routes to different trunk providers via Vodia's built-in SBC. Team members can have a DID on the PBX. You can make and receive calls from Teams to Vodia, as well as from Vodia to Teams members using your existing IP phone. And the conferencing can be used by team members as well. So as a Microsoft Teams user, you can mix and match between using the Teams Communicator, Vodia apps, the WebRTC portal, and desktop phones. Here you can see some of the IP phones we support. You can use your existing IP phones for our MS Teams integration. And as mentioned, obviously, we do have RPS support. So as a managed service provider, I mean, keeping track of your phone inventory and their location is critical. Some phones need to be swapped around or reprogrammed. So the Vodia RPS management helps there, allowing you to do mass button deployments and firmware upgrades. It allows for drop shipping of pre-configured phones. And it's a secure way to provision phones for the PBX. When we talk about public cloud, Vodia hosted multi-tenant can be run on a number of different platforms, AWS, Azure, Google. And I want to let you all know that the Vodia PBX is now available on the DigitalOcean marketplace. This is a great way for you and your customers to run scenarios with the PBX, test the apps and our Microsoft Teams integration. This is our true multi-tenant edition. It's built on a Debian-based 64-bit system. You bring your own SIP trunks and phones and Vodia license, although there is a demo license available on the marketplace as well. And then you can run our PBX on DigitalOcean's reliable infrastructure. This is readily available for you to test on DigitalOcean today if you wanted to. And we're here to help. If you have any support inquiries, you can send that request to support@vodia.com. You can open up tickets at vodia.zamad, ZAMMAD.com. Our documentation is at doc.vodia.com. /software gets you to where you can install the software, Windows or Linux. And for onboarding, contact our sales department. That's at sales@vodia.com. All right, that's what I got here for you today. Hopefully this was helpful. We will be making it available, absolutely, so that you can go and relook at this as you're doing your phone provisioning. So if you have any questions, you'll be able to reference this again. And let's go over and see if there's any questions I can go through that were answered, or any questions that you have now. You do have the chat on the right side of your screen, so feel free to contact us there with any questions. It doesn't look like we had any. Oh, now they're coming in. Does each Vodia provider need to establish their own RPS server with the phone manufacturer? So yes, each Vodia provider would need to establish an account, with that manufacturer to access their RPS server. They all have some different names, but basically they're all doing the same thing, regardless of which phone manufacturer you're using. Again, redirecting that to the PBX to get its config file. So yes, you would need to establish an account with that manufacturer or with multiple manufacturers to use the RPS functionality. Again, if there are any other questions, feel free to type them in. Give it another minute. So I see we've noticed Vodia mobile app is not available on the Google Marketplace, Galaxy Note 8 or Samsung 8. The app was available in the previous upgrade. What can we do? I know that you need to be Android 10 or higher, and then you should be able to see it on the Marketplace as well as download it. But you are going to need to be higher than 8. You're going to need to be on Android 10. So that's what you can do, upgrade your phone. Someone's asking, when will three-way conference be available on the Vodia app to do a simple three-way? Okay, so I was just told, like you do on the IP phones, I was just told that's about a month or two away. So, obviously our app is always being developed further. That's one of the things that we're working on right now. So I'll say a month or two just to put it out there, because definitely within 2, we should have that available. So you'd be able to do a simple three-way conference. All right, don't be shy. If there are any other questions, feel free to throw them up there for us. Okay. I think we're good. You know how to reach us. I had those emails up there before. Sales@vodia.com will get to me as well. So feel free to contact us or call us if you have any further questions. And like I said, we will be making this available so that you'll be able to reference back to this if you're setting up and provisioning phones. Someone's asking before I go here, can they use a Grandstream HT503 as a SIP trunk? I personally don't know the answer to that. I'm going to ask you, Harry, who posts that up there, to go ahead and send that question to support@vodia.com, and they can get that answer for you. Someone's responding, I think no. I kind of think no as well. But are we talking about FXO or FXS? It's an ATA, so Harry said FXO. I'm just reading you guys what's going on here. I've got Hamlet on there answering. So it's he said yes. So that can be done as long as it can talk SIP. Then that can be used as a SIP trunk. So there you got an answer without even having to send an email to support. Okay, because it looks like a Grandstream 503 has FXO and FXS. So You're good there? Answer is yes. All right, again, if you have anything additional, I'm going to close the session, so feel free to contact us directly with either a phone call or an email. Thanks, everybody, for your time today. Have a great day up there.